Good morning. Well, good afternoon. I'm here from London, but I know a number of you in Dubai and all over the world. I'm so delighted and honored to be with you here at the 2022 WYN Conference's Womenium Summit. Isn't that an amazing word, Womenium? So much more than consortium, right?
Hey, Sandra, thank you so much for joining the event. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm sorry. I thought I had to start straight away.
No. Let me share your AV first, and
Sure.
once that is played, you can start your session. We wish you all
Absolutely.
the very best for it, and we're looking forward for your speech.
Thank you.
Sandra Hunter is a certified life coach, speaker, and the award-winning author of 3 books. She's a former professor of English and creative writing and the owner and CEO of Wild Women Leaders of Color. She helps professional women release stress caused by workplace racism and gender bias, centers them in their ancestors' stories so they can step into mentoring young women. The Stealth Andy Network, part of LOC, pairs professional women with young career women to support them in this transition so they can successfully access professional development and promotion opportunities.
I'm hoping this is where I start. I'm not sure. I've not done one of these before, but I'm so. Is this it? Is this it? Hi, everybody. I am delighted and honored to be with you here at the 2022 WYN Conference's Womenium Summit. Isn't that a great word, Womenium? So much more than consortium, right? I just want to have a big shout out to Safura Tazeen and the WYN Conference's team for bringing us all together here. Now, more than ever, women's voices need to be heard, right? So welcome to the Young Career Woman's Secret Weapon. I just want to mention I really resonated with Tamara Steele's Compassionate Leader talk. I feel that there's a lot of overlap. I hope you guys caught it. It was amazing. And just before we get into the secret weapon bit, you are all, I'm speaking to a conference full of successful business women. And that's an amazing thing to have everybody here in this forum. But whether you've been in your business for 5 years, 10 years, probably 20 or even 30, you must remember the time when you first started. And some of us, I'm including myself here, were struggling to get into professions where men did and still do dominate the profession, right? So it was, you know, we'd put on our clothes, put on our makeup, do our hair, and then we'd put on our suit of armor to come in and do battle at work, to struggle against being silenced, being marginalized or isolated, being promoted into a high-profile job and then left without any support system, being passed over for promotional opportunities. And then in addition to that, facing the sexism, the gender bias, the racism that have followed us through our careers. I mean, this is not like it's got better, right? We still see these issues today. And I'm sure if we were able to see each other, there would be a lot of nodding heads or yeses in the chat. And the problem is that it's not only still with us, but it's going to be passed on to this next generation coming in. So we are looking at our daughters and our granddaughters. We are looking at our nieces. We're looking at this next generation coming in and thinking, is this what it's going to be like for them too? The World Economic Forum Global Gender Report in 2022 indicates that gender parity will not be achievable, not achieved, but achievable for the next 132 years. Can we just take a moment to look at that? We are where we are now with so many more women stepping into leadership positions, and we are still not at gender parity. And the projection is not for 132 years. The news isn't all bad, though, because in many countries, gender parity is generally gaining ground. The UAE, for example, moved up 4 rankings, according to the WEF report, in 1 year since 2020. And overall, education, health, survival, and education, I'm talking about primary, tertiary, and secondary, is gaining parity. It's in the 90% parity percentile. But in one area in particular, there hasn't been parity, and that is in economic participation and opportunity. And in this area, reports indicate there has been regression, which is really depressing, right? Regression and depression. And the reasons are, and I'm going to quote here, women have greater representation in roles that are becoming automated. So we can look at, for example, primary education. Reading, math, basic math skills are being automated now. We're also seeing large swathes of accounting being automated, and there's a huge percentage of women professionals who are in accounting. Then not enough women are entering professions where wage growth is the most pronounced, and the most obvious area here is tech and AI. Then also, women face the perennial problems of insufficient care infrastructure and access to capital. So while women continue to move into leadership positions, global societal expectations, employer policies, legal environment, and the availability of care continue to affect career choices and education tracks. So childcare and child rearing continues to fall to women as primary caregivers. And not just that, but women tend to be carers for older relatives, for parents, for chronic disease sufferers. So those caregiving roles are usually part of the women's job. Now, this is bad enough, when you're juggling a career and you have to come home to that as well. But during the pandemic, with care center closures, women then had to do everything at home: child care, older parent care, chronic disease sufferer care, and their careers. Is it any wonder that we saw women's careers take a nosedive? Based on an analysis, again, I'm going to quote here from 2019 data from 33 participating countries, representing a majority of global working age populations, women outstripped men in unpaid care 19% to 55%. So the 90% is the men, 55% was women, or women identifying. So all of this very serious news is really important to the incoming generation of young career women and how they navigate the early stages of their careers for long-term goals. How are they going to do this? How do they adapt for success? Well, let's just take a little look at Generation Z coming in. So this is your school leaver, your trade school graduate, your university or college graduate. Let's look at the environment they are accustomed to. They are accustomed to educational institution support and environment. So it's very supportive in this environment. It's very clearly structured. So they know they have classes to go to, they have exam schedules, and they know what to expect. They're familiar with educational structure and expectations. And they also have a whole phalanx of teachers who are expecting homework assignments and test results on a regular basis. So all of that is the known environment for your young woman. But between graduation and the initial part of their career, there is a gap with no support. School leavers and graduates are expected to adjust to a work environment with little or no preparation for forming and sustaining relationships with colleagues and bosses. Generation Z graduates may not understand how to write a professional email or how to make social talk with colleagues. They may not know how to address or deal with a boss who is very demanding. I've had students in my previous career as a college professor. I've had students who don't even know how close or how far away to stand to somebody. It's 3 feet, by the way, but they have no knowledge of that. And one of the reasons is the rise of the use of the handheld device, right? And Generation Z largely has grown up with that device clasped in their hand. They're used to communicating through a screen. And in the COVID lockdown, that was all they had. So you take a school leaver now who is used to device communication and become used to only screen communication during COVID lockdown, and then put them in a work environment where they're starting their career and expected to socialize and connect with and, establish themselves as a professional in real life. So, what organizations offer? Very many organizations will offer in-house training or induction, but that is usually focused on the organization's expectations about productivity, such as timely and well-executed work projects, punctuality, participation and collaboration in group projects, in teamwork. The rules about loyalty, dress code, socialization, how to form relationships that will advance the career, those may be unspoken. But unspoken rules also apply on how to advance careers. And with all the training that an organization may offer, they do not cover mental health. So your young woman has graduated with her certification, her degree. She knows how to navigate and do well in an interview. She knows how to score the job. She will want to know that she believes in the value of her work and the organization's purpose. And as well as anxiety over forming societal, social, and professional connections, she will meet the same gender bias, the same sexism, the same overt and covert racism that her predecessors, that's us ladies, met. She may also be socially isolated and not understand how to form these connections or access promotional and professional developmental opportunities. So let's take her just where she is right now. What affects her decision-making? She may not know that as she walks into a room, all her intelligences are at work, not just the cognitive intelligence, but, for example, intuition, your emotional body searching for clues of acceptance, for approval, intuition, music, spatial relationships, ancestral, environmental influences, how to choose which elevator to ride in, where to stand in a room. Not just how she is seen, but how she sees herself being seen. And all of this emotional impact can be overwhelming and will affect how she makes decisions at these various crossroads she's making at the beginning of her career. What experiences does she have outside of school and family? What can she draw on as she reaches these really important professional crossroads? She's completed everything bringing her to this point, everything external, that is, her education, her achievements. But as a career woman, she is inchoate. All of us as professionals now, and we're experienced in our jobs, we know that we form and reform all the time according to those influences, spatial relationships, music, intuition, ancestor input. The young career woman doesn't know any of this, and she is at her most vulnerable. And by the way, if I'm talking about stuff that's, raising a few questions here, for example, emotional intelligences, there is a lot of research that you can look up online about how to use those emotional intelligences in connection with your cognitive intelligence to develop completely as not just as a holistic woman, but a holistic career woman. So here we have the dilemma. So what is that young woman's secret weapon? Secret weapon? Enter the mentor. So recent studies by UCLA and the Journal of General Internal Medicine, articles by Forbes magazine, the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women, all indicate that mentorship for young women establishes a critical substructure for professional growth and success. So overwhelmingly in these studies, women report that mentorship would have made a crucial and significant difference in career trajectory. And I just want us to take a minute here to think about our own lives. If you had a mentor, what difference did that make for you? If you didn't have a mentor, and many, many women do not, what difference would that have made for you? Having someone to help you create emotional distance between yourself and a powerful experience so that you could be more creative and rational about your reaction. Because let's face it, when we get an emotional reaction, say someone is rude to us at work, there's an immediate response, right? There's no doubt about it. The parasympathetic nervous system is squashed, the sympathetic nervous system is on fire, and we immediately have a reaction, right? But a mentor can help you step back from that emotional reaction and see it in perspective and ask questions to help you work out what you're going to do instead of just reacting emotionally. So mentorship we can see as the career foundation for the young woman. And now I'm going to start talking about her as the mentee. So we have mentor and mentee. We're trained in self-sufficiency, we're trained in self-realization and self-evidence, but we actually need the tribe. Without a mentor, a young woman can easily make a decision that doesn't serve her best or can damage her career. So what does a mentor do, right? So we've thought, those of you who've had mentors, you can be reflecting on what your mentor did for you. And those of us who didn't have mentors, we can reflect on what we would have liked a mentor to do for us to help us get more access to promotional opportunities and recognize professional development opportunities. The mentor provides encouragement. They also provide challenges to get the young woman to challenge herself, to ask questions of herself. The mentor provides reassurance and a rational approach to professional experiences and situations. The mentor can teach the young woman how to approach these by using breathing and other body stress release techniques so that she learns to manage her body through stress. Because let's face it, stress isn't going to disappear. Stress is always going to be with us in whatever form that takes, whether it's a challenging boss, whether we are getting negative feedback from a client or from colleagues, whether we're facing microaggressions, racial microaggressions, or racial gender microaggressions or sexism, all of that can impact how we perform professionally at work. It can shut us down, right? A mentor can help us gain distance and perspective so that we don't have to feel so shut down. So your mentee needs to know she can take up her space instead of shrinking away from it. And one of the most simple things a mentee can learn is how to stand with her shoulders back and her chin up, taking up her full space and entering a situation knowing that she is grounded in her confidence. Having a mentor to help her practice breathing techniques before she walks into the conference is going to be invaluable. The mentor creates a foundation on which a young woman can stand with certainty as she moves forward. The mentor provides a mirror that she holds up to the mentee so the mentee can see herself as she makes decisions. What the mentor doesn't do, the mentor doesn't advise. Now that seems counterintuitive, right? Surely as a mentor, you would give the benefit of your amazing experience to your mentee, but the mentor has to learn to step back from advice and ask questions. So let's say we have a mentor-mentee relationship. Mentee comes to the mentor and says, there's this amazing job and I can't wait. I want to apply for it right now. So we can see that the mentee is excited and emotionally elevated. The mentor's job is to help her stand back and say, why do you want to apply for this job? What is it going to do for you and your long-term plans? What happens if those plans change? What support can you expect when you move into this job, providing you get it? Who will be around you as your support system? Who can you go to when you have questions? Then another possibility for an emotional situation is the usual one with conflict, right? You've had a conflict, your mentee rather has had a conflict with their boss, had a conflict with a colleague, and they come to the mentor and they're just really upset. Somebody spoke all over me during a meeting. Somebody made a comment about my hair. And, bodies of culture, and I know you're here in the conference today, you know what that's like. Somebody compliments you on how well you speak. I mean, these are microaggressions, right? But your mentee will react to those emotionally. So when the mentee comes back to the mentor can ask questions to help the mentee gain emotional distance between the event and herself. What is important about the conflict you had yesterday with your boss? How can you step back from your body's initial response and see this conflict with curiosity and with compassion for yourself? The mentor helps the young woman situate herself in confidence and self-worth. The other important thing that a mentor does for the mentee is help her recognize a sponsor. Now, a sponsor is hugely important for the mentee's career development and advancement. A sponsor is usually upper management or a consultant, and they sit in those closed door meetings, in those board meetings where there are discussions about raises and bonuses and promotions and access to professional opportunity. The young woman can perform really well throughout the year. Let's say she's been in her new career for a year now, and she's done amazingly well with projects that she's had. She's got consistent, fabulous client feedback. She's really done well with her relationships with bosses, with colleagues, and she's showing over and over again that she has added considerable value to the organization. So she makes the list. Her name is on the list when that board meeting starts. But guess what? If we're talking about bonuses, she may not get the top of the line bonus. Her name may come up and nobody recognizes her. They may know Phil in accounts or in IT. And oh yes, we know Phil, he's doing a great job. Let's give him the A grade level bonus. But if our mentee, her name comes up and nobody recognizes her name, they may say, well, she's done really well. We'll give her a grade C bonus, and they'll pass on to the next person. So what you want behind those closed doors is someone to speak up for her. As motivational speaker Carla Harris says, meritocracy is a fallacy. And the reason is because behind those closed door meetings, you have humans making those decisions. So the human element in giving Phil in IT an A-level bonus is going to be what happens, because the human doesn't know our mentee, who has just been there for a year and her name isn't known that well in the organization. With a sponsor to speak up for her, she can be elevated a little bit more. She will be introduced to other influential people who will help her advance her career. So the mentor provides the foundation. The sponsor is, that's the supporting beam. You need your sponsor, but the mentor provides the foundation and helps the mentee recognize who to approach as a sponsor. Here's an example. Young woman without a mentor. She will love her boss. Her boss loves her too. They go get on really great together. She's doing really well and her boss loves her. Her boss does not sit in one of those board meetings where they're discussing raises, promotions, bonuses, opportunities. So her boss cannot speak for her. The mentor, however, will have a better idea throughout their massive experience, their years of experience, of how to track, how to spot and target a sponsor who will help the mentee. They will also help the mentee understand, excuse me, frog in my throat. There's a whole flock of them. Is that the collective of frogs, a flock of frogs? It should be. The mentor will help the mentee recognize the sponsor and help the mentee prepare for that meeting. So the sponsor will see the value of putting their name behind this young woman who is doing so well. So, where to find a mentor? Because the mentee needs professional guidance, the family is not the best place to look. Even if the family has someone who is in the same profession, has years of experience in that profession, they won't be the right person, because the mentee needs dispassionate, unemotional support. That's why she needs a professional mentor. You need the family, of course you do. You need your cheer squad, you need your tribe there, and they will hold you up. But the mentor should be someone separate from the family. So, for example, it could be a teacher. It could be a tutor. It could be an advisor. Anybody who's got experience within that mentee's career choice, her actual career, sorry, not her career choice. Best of all, the best mentor of all is a professional woman like you, who has had years in that young woman's career, who knows the pitfalls, who understands what it's like to be targeted, to be silenced, to be marginalized, to experience gender bias, to be passed over for promotion, to deal with harassment. The professional woman knows and is therefore the best possible match for a young woman. And because of her mentor, the professional mentor, the young woman can step into her empowered, full feminine potential, and will be enabled in her turn to reach out a hand to another young career woman and help her up. Mentorship unlocks all the yeses, all the potential, all the opportunities and all the success that can then be passed on to the next generation. And you, as professional women who know this path so well, are so primed and ready to be able to offer that mentorship support. Not only will you give the benefit of your experience to some upcoming young woman and the generations to come, you will see what an incredibly life-changing thing this is to be involved as a mentor, to actually throw your name behind someone to help someone, be another young woman, have the success that you already enjoy. So I would like at this point to open to any questions, if there are any questions here. And let me see, I don't exactly know how to use the chat, so I'm going to try and do that here. Oh, Melinda, can you tell me how to use the chat, please?
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Melinda.
Hi, Sandra. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. So I was a little bit busy today. So we know we are in Dubai, so it is combined with both physical and virtual.
Of
So
course.
yeah, but
Of
still we
course.
are enjoying. So it's really a beautiful presentation about the mentor and the mentoring. So really and we got a question from our audience. What is the difference between coach and mentor?
Okay, so a coach is a one-on-one person who will look at various questions as they come up. Okay, so a coach is usually professionally trained as a coach, and they will take a lot of aspects of a young person's life, and the young person will come to them, their client will come to them and say, I have this question for you. And then the coach will work on that specific question. With a mentor, a professional mentor, you can get a business coach. Okay, so those two are very similar, right? But if you have a mentor is only focused on the professional life of the mentee. So they will be looking at all those daily issues that the mentee will come across, whether they are social, professionally social, or whether they are to do with advancement. Did that answer the question? And please grab me afterwards as well if you'd like to have more conversation about that, because there's so much about mentorship that I'd love to talk about, but because of time constraints, we can't. I'd just like to, is it okay for me to share my website,
Yes,
Melinda?
yes, Sandra, you can. So yes,
Okay.
we got, pretty much we got the answer. So yes, you can do that. You can even share your website details as well. So if anyone wants to, so if anyone wants to poll the Sandra Hunter, so you can go to the polling session and you can even read the presentation of the Sandra Hunter. And if you want to reach Sandra, you can reach her on the social media, that is in Facebook, Instagram. As I said, if you search with Sandra Hunter, so yeah, just a message away, so she will be available. So yes, Sandra, thank you so much for
Thank
this
you,
beautiful
Melinda.
presentation, and thank you so much for WYN conferences speaker. So looking forward to be a part of this the next upcoming event, which is in the Paris. So yeah, in March 8th and 9th. So
So lovely.
let's have some fun and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay. So let's move on to the another speaker. So before moving, so we'll have a 20 minutes of break because so physical speakers, they went for the lunch. So they will be back in 20 minutes so that we can have a session with the physical speakers in Dubai. Thank you so much for your patience, and have a great day. Now, so we'll start our next speaker's presentation in 10 minutes. Okay, so they have just went for the lunch. We are waiting for them. So once they are back, so and Latoya is here, so we are waiting for the other speakers to join the event. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you so much for understanding. Thank you so much for being so nice, for being so patient with us. And good day.